With the December 21st date behind us, it's evident that we are still here, and it's evident that there's still work to be done and fun to be had. So with the earth still under our feet, it's time to reflect on the changes not only around us, but within us. This is Skull Babylon, and you're listening to a post-apocalyptic episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. On this episode, we began with some regular community news, such as what was happening in Paradigm Shift London on the big date, and also celebrating the release of our full-length film Journey to Rockmont, 3 Days of Light. Welcoming some fellow community members onto the show, we covered some relevant topics to help inspire us to keep reaching out to those in our community in both creative and subtle ways. Furthermore, we got into the ever-interesting topic of sound frequencies and the significance of the 432 Hz and the idea that there's something to it in particular that can potentially be used as a tool to help us move forward into the future with more clarity and efficiency. Everything is vibration, and our thoughts and our actions are creating new waves every second. So utilize the opportunities that we have, emit your own frequency, combine forces with your friends, and keep listening to Paradigm Shift Radio as we continue to change the world. Enjoy the show.
So, here we are. One day later. We've made it. The day so many of us had in the back of our minds for quite some time is now behind us, and the future, a whole new world, is what lies ahead. This is Skull Babylon, and you are listening to another episode, another consciousness-shifting episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. How's it going, everybody? Just a quick shout-out to everybody who's tuned into the chat. Thank you once again for tuning in. And I myself am Skull Babylon, and giving you the show on behalf of ParadigmShiftCentral.com. That's the main website. You can go there, check out all of the links, check out some of the directories to the over 50-plus Paradigm Shift communities all across the world. And that is a number that is continuing to grow, and we'll give a little bit more information about what the whole paradigm shift thing is in just a couple minutes. But what I would just like to say, first of all, guys, is if you have not already, please help get the word out about the show by sharing the link on your Facebooks, through your Twitters, even on Reddit, even on forums. If you have anywhere that you think you might be able to put it out, please feel free to do so, because at this point in the show, just because of some stuff I was trying to get together last minute, I didn't really get a chance to really post it in like the 50-plus pages and groups that I normally get to post it in. So right off the bat, I know that we're going to be having a little bit lower numbers in terms of what would happen if I got all of the media outlets out and about, but needless to say, those who are here are those who are here for a reason. So thank you guys once again for tuning in to another show. And like I said, we're here. We're on December 22nd. This is a special post-apocalyptic episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. So what we're going to be doing on this episode isn't really going to be too different from any other episode. I mean, perhaps there might be some interesting stories that we're going to be able to hear from people all across the globe in different communities. I want to be able to hear some stories of what the December 21st date was like on your end of the world. Did you have any crazy experiences? Because, I mean, just because we didn't... I mean, I've been keeping an eye on forum pages and things like that, and nothing particularly out of the ordinary really showed up. Like, if anything, one thing I was sort of expecting was some sort of like UFO demonstration or some sort of crazy lights in the sky, and didn't really see too much of that, but maybe I just haven't come across all of it. So if that's something that you even happen to have already come across, so feel free to share the links inside of the live chat, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about things that did happen on the December 21st date, things that didn't happen on the December 21st date, and where we are now. So for those of you who are listening who have tuned in before, you know what this show is about. For those of you who might be new, because I know we're probably going to be having quite a few new listeners due to the recent release of the Journey to Rockmont 3 Days of Light documentary, which I'll get to in a minute. But what this show is about, this show, Paradigm Shift Radio, is a media branch of a global network, a global community of Paradigm Shift communities across the world. And Paradigm Shift communities are physical communities as well as Facebook pages that encourage open-mindedness, healthy living, and the evolution of consciousness. So a Paradigm Shift community is something that you can get started in your area. It starts simply by creating a Facebook page or a Facebook group, and it starts by you spreading the word, sending the links to some of your friends, getting them excited about the idea, getting some momentum behind it, and then going out there and interacting with your community by creating physical physical gatherings, be it either at libraries, at yoga studios, in parks, even just in your house, and having that open door where you can invite people to come and take part in a physical space to be able to share in the conversation as well as the energies. Because a lot of what the paradigm shift communities are about, there's no specific one, like I said, the idea is to promote open-mindedness, healthy living, and the evolution of consciousness. That's an umbrella statement. What happens within that paradigm shift community is really up to the people within the paradigm shift community to define that for themselves. The purpose of having a paradigm shift community is to create that open door so that people know that they're not alone, and you're going to be able to support each other in these coming times, because obviously with the future that we're moving into, and this is just sort of my own perspective, and I've had this for quite some time, and maybe we'll get into talking about this. You get into the topics of ideas of synchronicity and awareness, and I think these things go hand in hand, and I think these things sort of can be plotted on like a graph, if you want to think about it that way, in the sense that as we continue to move forward into the future, as awareness increases, so too does synchronicity. And as synchronicity increases, so too does awareness. So our awareness of our synchronicities are going to cause the synchronicities to occur more, and then they're going to become more blatant to us, to the point where we're actually going to be able to start utilizing this awareness to be able to anticipate the fact that synchronicities are occurring on a daily basis, and they're just going to help bring us together more efficiently, more effectively, and help bring those lessons, those messages into our lives so that we can become closer to aligning ourselves with our authentic self is one way to put it. And again, synchronicities might be something as simple as going out into your city or your town or wherever and happening to run into that person at the grocery store who you haven't seen in some time, but then suddenly you have this urge to talk to them and just be like, hey, I've been practicing meditation or something recently, and suddenly, through your own will, you start opening up conversation, and then that sparks an idea, and then it plants a seed, and then they have a reaction to it, and suddenly there's a new bond that's formed from there. And if it wasn't for that synchronicity, that wouldn't have occurred. You wouldn't have even been brought together in that space in the first time. But an understanding of synchronicity is that the universe has this way, it's almost like comparable to magnetics, so to speak, to bring people together, to bring events together, to bring ideas together, so that they're going to meet up in a certain space and time, but then within that space and time, it's up to us to use our free will to make that next step, to be able to engage with that scenario to make something of it. So, I mean, even just today, like me and a few friends, Brianna and Eddie, who are up from Michigan, who have been visiting us, and I'll talk about what we were up to on the December 21st date here in London, Ontario, with London, and we were just out and about, and we went out to a spiritual bookshop, and also to another place. And I mean, obviously, it's kind of likely that we're going to run into someone at a spiritual bookshop, but we just so happened to. We were in there, and a couple of our friends were coming through the door only like a few minutes behind us, so to speak. And then we got talking to them, and then we were going to another store, and then they were going to the same store too. And then, again, so it's just those moments where it just reassures us that wherever we go, we're not alone, because the universe is constantly trying to bring us together. And this goes hand in hand with the potential and the idea behind building the tribe in terms of shifting consciousness, because that's what paradigm shift communities are about. They're about utilizing the synchronistic nature of reality to help bring the tribe together so that we can continue to support each other, we continue to empower each other, we can continue to move closer to truth by sharing these conversations with each other. So there you go, guys. And now just excuse me as I just grab a glass of water. But in the meantime, guys, just let me know, for everyone who's in the chat, is my microphone sounding okay? I think I've done everything quite fine, so it should be good as far as I know. Yeah, so it sounds pretty good. Cool. All right, and let me just check. So again, like I said, I didn't really get a chance to totally promote this show as much as I wanted to, but regardless, if you guys can help promote the show in the meantime, that's just going to help get the word out more and more. And then obviously, once the show airs, I'll put it up on YouTube shortly afterwards. And then all I ask is that you share the YouTube link as well, though you will be able to listen to the show again through, which is the link that you're currently on. So after the show airs, you can refresh this link and you'll be able to listen to it again, and you can share that link in the meantime. Whatever link that you want to share to get the word out, by all means. So again, for everybody who's listening to this who might be new, ParadigmShiftCentral.com is the website that has the links to the Facebook pages. So the Facebook pages are facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio, as well as facebook.com/ParadigmShiftCentral. And Paradigm Shift Central is kind of the global hub where you'll find all of the links and likes to the other Paradigm Shift communities across the globe. So quick shout out to some of the most recent Paradigm Shift communities, because that's what we'll do within the first couple of minutes. I'll just bring you guys up to speed on some Paradigm Shifty community news. So before I get into what we did here in Paradigm Shift London, just a quick shout out to some of the most recent Paradigm Shift communities, which is Paradigm Shift Brisbane, Australia, and I'm going to post a link to that inside the live chat, but you can also find that not too far down on the main facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Central page. So big shout out to Paradigm Shift Brisbane, Australia. They are the third, if not fourth, Paradigm Shift community to pop up in Australia, which I think is really cool. There's definitely a lot of interesting energies that are occurring in Australia, so it's good that we see more of those communities popping up in Australia to foster that growth. And another one, now this one isn't entirely new. Well, actually, yeah, I guess it's new enough. And big shout out to Paradigm Shift Northern California. So, I mean, for all of you who are in California, even if you aren't in the northern part, check that out. Continue to link through. And even if you're nowhere near California, check out the page. If you're listening to the show and if you're in the live chat right now, go there, check it out, and just connect and show your support and keep an eye on what people are posting. It's always interesting to see sort of what all the different Paradigm Shift communities are sort of posting. And if you really want to get a big overview of what everybody's posting, if you go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com/directory, you can see all of the, I laid it out so that you can see all of the Facebook feeds in one location. So you can literally scroll through there, like every single page, and get an idea of what all the Paradigm Shift communities are posting about. So it's kind of cool. Again, it's interesting to see what everybody else is doing, because no one Paradigm Shift community is the same. It's all sort of relative to the people within it. So, and another Paradigm Shift community to give a shout out to is Paradigm Shift Battle Creek. And Paradigm Shift Battle Creek is in Michigan. So big shout out to them. And I know there's already some stuff going on in Michigan. So Michigan, there's definitely there seems to be a lot of momentum there, and that's what we need. I mean, you talk about ley lines, you talk about grids. It seems to sort of be like hot spots here and there. And Brisbane being in Australia is obviously one, and Battle Creek is most definitely one, and Northern California is most definitely one. And not to say that you need to be on a ley line or a hot spot in order to get a Paradigm Shift community started, but I'm just sort of saying, for those three Paradigm Shift communities in particular, I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, because I can see firsthand that there's going to be a lot of momentum behind those communities, without a doubt. So big shout out to them. And again, ParadigmShiftCentral.com/directory will be the place that you can go to check out all the Paradigm Shift communities in one location. And again, I'll post a link to that in the live chat. And just to sort of state the obvious, for those of you who are listening to this show and might not be in the live chat, the live chat can easily be located through the link for the blog talk that is on the Facebook page, and then just scroll down a bit and you should be able to see the live chat, which is open. And if you're not in it, you can log in as a guest, or you can log in through Facebook, which is pretty effortless, needs to say. So again, just thank you to everybody who's in the live chat and joining us here once again tonight. So, all right, now guys, before I'm just going to get into a little bit more Paradigm Shift community news, just to share with you just a couple things. But what I would like to do on the show tonight, since there isn't really a particular agenda. Obviously, you know that in the past we've had guests on, and last week we had Phoenix from the recent 3 Days of Light documentary. He joined us on the show, and that was a pleasure having him on. You can go back and check out the previous episode of that. All of that is found on facebook.com/PSR, or ParadigmShiftCentral.com/PSR, or Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. It's all posted up through there. Check out episode 26 with Phoenix on. That was a really good episode. He's a really smart guy, great teacher. So go back, check that out. But since we don't have a guest on tonight, once again, it's opened up to whoever would really like to be on the show. This is your chance to call into the show. Now, I'm not really setting any particular topic. Let's try and keep it around something either related to Paradigm Shift communities. If you want to just share a story that you feel is going to help empower other people to say, like, this is what I'm doing and this should motivate you to do what you need to do in your area, or if you want, you can share some sort of experience relative to something that happened to you on the December 21st date or around it, and that could be something like maybe you had some sort of like crazy like fifth dimensional experience, so to speak, and maybe you were contacted by other entities from another dimension, or maybe you saw like something really trippy in the sky, or maybe you just had like a really good down to earth celebration, keeping in mind that if anything, at the very least, it was the solstice, and I think in that sense, where we are right now has historically been seen by all of the mystic teachings and as a revered moment where there's a lot of energy, and that is because we're moving through. The sun is now coming up, is lasting longer within the day. Like the days are becoming longer now, and that's not just a thing that's happening through space and everything like that. That can also be taken as a very literal, metaphorical aspect of what is happening within ourselves. The sun is rising within ourselves, and also this idea of Christmas. A lot of people talk about Christmas and they get caught up in this idea of like the Coca-Cola image of it, materialism and all that. But I mean, and I talk about this in a video that will be coming out soon, just briefly, but the idea of Christmas, what is another way of looking at it? You can almost think of it as a Christ in mass. Christmas is sort of coming into fruition, bringing that the Christness within ourselves into the mass. So the Christ in mass is one way of looking at it. And that's why naturally you just find that there's lots of energies related around this time of year, whether it's directly related to Christmas or not. It's there. So we want to be able to utilize those energies, especially coming off the solstice, especially coming off December 21st. Now more than ever, we are moving into the future. Like obviously the asteroid didn't hit. Obviously we're still here. But I mean, for me, that's exactly what I anticipated. And that just motivates me further to say, like, all right, we have all the tools we need to create the future that we want to see. And that's what we're doing here. And especially, again, using these like astrological metaphors and stuff, just to use that as a momentum to empower ourselves, because it's not just an individual thing. There's stuff that's happening like on a collective, global scale, so to speak. So definitely a lot of stuff going on this time of year, needless to say. And also what is going on that is pretty exciting is the release of the Journey to Rockmont 3 Days of Light documentary. So that was something that you guys have heard me talking about that in the past, ever since back in October when we were first talking about going to the 3 Days of Light event and documenting it, and that's what I did. And we even had a Paradigm Shift Radio live from there. We're live from the 3 Days of Light event, which you can obviously find in the archive. And I was working on this documentary for well over about 6 or 7 weeks, and I probably spent like over 200 hours on it at least. I mean, I know it was probably more, but I put a lot of love into this. This is like straight from the heart, this documentary. And for those of you who have seen it, thank you so much for all the positive response from it. I can just tell you now, having put it out on December 20th, it's currently at 2,500 views on YouTube and 127 thumbs up and 1 thumb down. So that's a pretty good ratio in my book, and that's just a testimony to the fact that I've done what I needed to do. I wouldn't have released the documentary unless I wasn't satisfied with it, and that goes with all of my work, really. So I'm so happy that you guys have been able to have the chance to see it for yourself, and all again, like, I'm so glad that you're getting it. And then what we need to do even further is to continue to share that documentary, because that documentary is about the bigger story. It's about people seeing, even though they might not have been at the 3 Days of Light event, it's about them seeing that they're not alone, that there are these people, youth and non-youth alike, who generally have this space in their heart to want to create a better world. And you see that firsthand in the documentary. So again, if you haven't yet, I'm posting the link for the documentary into the live chat, or you can go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/SkullBabylon. If you're listening to this show and aren't in the live chat or anything, just go there to youtube.com/SkullBabylon, and you'll see the full trailer posted up there. It's about an 80-minute documentary, and it features a lot of wonderful people. It features Jordan from Spirit Science. It features Phoenix. It features Billy May, who was an awesome individual who helped create this entire movie by supplying the soundtrack to it. And you can listen to more of Billy's music at facebook.com/infinite-third. And again, like this documentary would not have been what it was if it wasn't for Billy having that music in the first place. But again, like that's like that synchronicity thing. Like Billy approached me and provided me with this music, and I made something of it. We together collectively like created an opportunity. You know, a lot of people say like, what's the meaning of life? The meaning of life is to give life meaning, and that's what we did. There was an opportunity in front of us, and we made something of it. And then out of that came this incredible documentary, which I'm really happy to share with you guys. And to take it a step further, again, obviously stating the fact that we can share it through the social media networks. I mean, if you have forums, post it on forums, et cetera, Facebook, all that. But what I would like to do, I would like to be able to take this into film festivals. And in 2011, there was a good while where I took one of my past film into a film festival, and that film is If I Should Fall. I mean, a lot of you have already heard about that, but if you haven't heard about that, you can check that out at www.ifishouldfall.com. That film in itself is about Canadian military and about the power of hope, the importance of remembrance, and it is a very spiritual film in its own way. But I'm familiar with what the film festival circuit is like, so to speak. So I've been to quite a few film festivals, and I made this film with the intention of it being something that could potentially be submitted to film festivals. So if you would like to be able to help with that, what I would ask from you is if you would like to consider donating, and that will help cover the cost of what it takes to enter a film into a film festival. On average, it takes about $20 to $30, give or take, to enter a film into a film festival. So that doesn't mean it's going to get accepted. That means that's just the entry, and that means that they'll look at it and quite possibly put it into the festival. Because that's really what my mission is in terms of all this paradigm shift stuff, in terms of all the media stuff that I do, is to try to create something that as a community we can help share further, to bring into culture, to bring this message into Babylon, so to speak. You know, like my name's Skull Babylon, and that's not a coincidence. That's because I want to be able to bring my message right into the heart of Babylon. And how do we do that? We have to adapt our message accordingly. And this documentary is just another way of doing that. I mean, if we can get this documentary into a film festival, and people who otherwise would not get a chance to see it are going to get a chance to see it, then we're accomplishing something. We're strengthening that grid. We're getting the message out there. We're telling our story. You know, again, I've said this documentary, it's my story, it's your story, it's our story. And I think a lot of you who have seen it already, you understand that. So again, thank you so much, everybody who has seen that. And just continue to share further, and you'll see me pumping it out continuously in the weeks to come, because this documentary is sort of timeless. It's not going to just, like a week later, it's not going to be old news. Like, this is something that people will be able to watch in 6 months from now, and it'll still be relative, so to speak. So there you go, guys. And if you'd like to donate, go to paradigmshiftcentral.com/donate. That is pretty straightforward in terms of links. You can donate through the PayPal, but you don't need PayPal to donate. But click on the PayPal donation button, and then today I don't have a PayPal account, and it will still let you donate using your credit card or whatever. So that would help a lot, guys, because, again, if I'm not really getting assistance in terms of space cash, then it's costing me money to do a lot of this stuff. And not that that's me complaining, that's just me stating the obvious. So, again, guys, any contributions that you can send, that you can forward our way, isn't for me, it's for the greater cause. It's about us being able to get there, to get our message out there, to strengthen the community and all that. So there you go, guys. So that's that. And just a quick little message in terms of what happened yesterday with the Paradigm Shift London community. Obviously, for those of you who may be listening to this and may not know otherwise, I'm associated with Paradigm Shift London, Ontario. So go to facebook.com/paradigmshift-london, and you can see all the stuff that we're up there. But yesterday was totally exciting day, and I filmed it, and this is going to be my next video. I'll be editing it over the next couple days, and this is something I had planned for a couple weeks leading up to the December 21st date, and it goes back to a video and a project that I did a while ago called Plant a Seed, and I'll post a link for that in the live chat. And that was something that we did on Peace Day, and I've talked about this before, and it was us like holding signs with thought-provoking ideas, and these thought-provoking ideas were a way for us to, once again, to interact with our community, to bring our message and to connect with people who are out and about who would otherwise probably never hear about this stuff. So yesterday was like a crazy like blizzard in terms of weather here in Canada, and it was like the first snowstorm that we've had like all season pretty much. So it just happened to be blizzarding when we planned to do this, and I didn't get the full turnout in terms of numbers that I wanted, but I worked with what I got, and thank you so much to all the brave souls who helped me with this. There was only about 7 of us who pulled this off, and we, like I said, we had these signs, and we had them up and down the street, and we were placing them along the sidewalk, and about a few blocks away, each one being at a light, and the signs were being held by 2 people. And the new sign that I had that held up for a while before the weather sort of destroyed it said, "Feel connected, feel the rhythm." And then the other sign that we had said, "Open your heart." And then the other sign was, "We are collective consciousness experiencing itself subjectively." And another sign that we had was, "As you think, so should you become." So again, those are just examples of things that you can create on your signs if you want to do this. But long story short, it was pretty cool because something that came up from this, and this is something that why I want to share this with you, was this idea that there was a while where I wasn't sure whether or not we were actually going to do this because the weather was so bad, it was so cold out, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, this is an easy excuse not to do it. But then I was like, well, hold on, like I already, in my mind, I created that reality where this happens, and simply by the mere act of thinking it, I knew that it could exist. And the only thing that would stop me from doing it would be choosing, me using my own will to choose to go off the path that I had created for myself. So what brought it into fruition was me being committed to the reality that I had the intention to create. So commitment was something that I brought up in our paradigm shift meeting that we had later that day as well. And that's something that I just want to refer to you guys, like the importance of commitment. Like just keep that theme in mind. If you're thinking about all this paradigm shift stuff, if you're thinking about doing stuff out in your communities, if you're thinking about starting a community, keep in mind the idea of commitment. Like are you committed? How many times do we have an idea? Do we have like a New Year's resolution and then we just start it and then we drop it? So what we need to work on is our commitment. And like I said, in this situation, I could have easily walked away and just made up an excuse for myself. But I was like, no, like what example would that be setting? I'm like, we're going to push through this. Like this weather is not going to kill us. If anything, it's just a test of the spirit. It's a trial for us to say, how serious are we about this? So we went out there, we braved the weather, we braved the storm, and we were out there. And the fact that we were out there in this like freezing weather, I think brought more attention to how bold we were and how adamant we were about sharing our message. You know, people driving down the road, they're just like, holy crap, like who are these kids? They're crazy. And then seeing the signs that we're holding, they're just like, huh, you know, like that's really interesting. So if it brings even just a smile to their face, even if it just plants that seed in the back of their mind, that's what we're trying to do. And at the same time, obviously, and you'll see about this in the video and stuff, we have our Paradigm Shift community business cards, and you can get your own community, your own Paradigm Shift community business cards by going to facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Central. There's all the tools that you need there to create your own business cards, or if you want to message me personally, I'm on facebook.com/SkullBabylon, and then I can help you make your own business cards, because business cards are something that you can hand to people so that you can connect them and bring them back to that space. And yeah, just an example, you know, we're like walking down the street, people are coming up to us, they're talking to us, they're like, hey, what's this about? This is interesting. Give them a business card, directs them to the website, invites them out to our regular meetings. Boom, they're connected. Easy as that. Like there were people who were like pointing at us like through the bus window, and we were like handing the business cards to them through the bus window. You know, like no, there's no excuses here. Like everyone had the potential to get connected to. And then after we did that, just to wrap up this story, and then we'll move into our next callers, and we'll just continue to go from there. What else happened that day? We did do a flash mob meditation, and that was something we've talked about in the past on the show. So it was a full day, a full December 21st in Paradigm Shift London, and you'll see the video in the next couple of days once I get it edited. So we did the sign holding thing with me and 6 other friends. We went downtown. We did some free hugs downtown, like in the heart of Babylon. We were bringing out the free hugs, and you'll see that it was so awesome. And we had like a free hug sign right outside the bus stop, so people would like get off the bus, and Brianna, you know, like she was right there, big smile on, and people were just like, what, hug? Yeah, I want a hug. And she's like, yeah, and then everyone's just like smiley and happy. And it was good. And you know, even if you get those people that are just like, for me, don't touch me, like, you know, that's you don't let it get you down. I mean, that's just you know, that's just part of the rhythm. But to be able to reach out to those people and to just like make that physical connection with them, it brings hope. at the very least, if it's anything that you're doing in all of this, you're bringing hope to them. You're giving them that knowing that, hey, there are people out there who care, and that inspires me. That says that, in these coming times, this world is not doomed. There are still those who carry the love and the light in their heart and carry it adamantly and wear it on their sleeve. So that's a very cool thing to do. And I know quite a few other people have been doing some free hug stuff as well. So, I think that's something, if anybody wants to call into the show, we can talk about that and just the success and the power of doing a free hug thing in their area. So that's, again, that's something that can be encouraged anywhere. And like I said, so we did that sign holding, bam, free hugs, bam, flash mob meditation, bam. So there was like 30 of us sitting around inside of a mall. And we were doing a meditation, and there's some sweet pictures of it on the facebook.com/ParadigmShiftCentral. And that was really cool. And that was some really powerful energy. Like, I had my singing bowl going, and we were oming and stuff, and I could really feel like the vibrations going up and down my spine during that entire process. And again, that just connected the community. And then awesome experience. The fact that we were meditating at that moment, knowing that there were people all across the world on that time, being December 21st, who were meditating as well, being not isolated. Like, we were connecting our energies into the etheric grid and connecting with an entire globe of people who were meditating at that moment to be that change. And sometimes being that change means demonstrating that you're willing to slow down, to go inside and to refine yourself with the intention of taking that energy and bringing it out and bringing that energy into your culture and having more commitment to do what you need to do to change the world that we live in. So there you go, guys. And in the last part of that, we had a regular Paradigm Shift meeting. And for those of you, again, who are in London, facebook.com/ParadigmShiftLondon, you'll see all the information on the banner pages every Friday, 6:45, downtown Yoga Holistic Center, third floor studio. Awesome space. Thank you so much to that studio for helping us do what we need to do. And that just shows you that yoga studios, they like these ideas of these communities coming together, because at the very least, it's keeping kids off the street, if you want to look at it that way. So, it's something to do on a Friday night that's an alternative, and it's healthy, it's mindful, it's open-minded discussion. So for those of you who may be in London, feel free to join us next Friday. And next Friday is going to be the full moon, December 28th. And I might as well just mention that now. If you haven't already heard of this, go to facebook.com/full-moon, ParadigmShiftCentral.com/full-moon, and you'll see the Once in a Full Moon project. And we'll probably do some stuff within the week, and that's a project that's been ongoing. And every full moon, a whole bunch of us get together, and we take pictures of us interacting with the full moon, sharing our stories from different sides of the world, using the moon as a single catalyst to sort of revolve our energy around. And we create videos on the full moon, and we share them together as a chance to practice expressing ourselves, expressing our creativity, and just getting our voice out there. So go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com/full-moon. I'll post the information in the video info as well, and I'll post the link to the chat in the chat as well, so everybody can link to that right now. So if you're in the live chat, I'm posting the link right now. So join that event page and feel free to take part in the Once in a Full Moon project that will be taking place this time next week, as it will be a full moon on the next Friday. So that'll be pretty cool. And anybody who wants to come out to a Paradigm Shift London meetings, please do so. So, okay. All right. I think I've said everything I needed to, and not that I need to apologize, but that did take a little bit of time just doing that. But there you go, guys. That's all the news that just needs to cover going into that. So again, share the journey to Rockmont. Do what you need to do in your community. If you are thinking about starting a Paradigm Shift community, think about it. Continue to think about it, and then know that we have your back. We as a community have your back. So go to facebook.com/ParadigmShiftCentral. You'll see all the tips and tricks that you need there to get you started, and just do it. This is the time, guys. We are moving into 2013. We are past the December 21st date. We have nothing really to look back on. We have only the future to look forward to. So this is about the tribe coming together, collective energy, yada, 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 change the world, etc. Bam. There we go. And that bam wasn't an asteroid. That bam was our crown chakras opening up like a lotus flower and going bam, and sun comes in, and it's just all beautiful, and etc. etc. All right, guys. So like I said, if you'd like to call into the show tonight, please do so. You can call in using an actual cell phone to the actual number, and the number you can call in on is 347-539-5493, or you can call in using Skype, which is pretty easy to do so through this Blog Talk link. Scroll up a bit or refresh the page if you need to. You'll see a Skype icon next to the call in to speak with the host, and log in through that. Press 1 on your keypad, and then you'll be able to get in touch with us that way, and we'll see you on the queue. And like I said, we can really talk about anything on the show tonight. What do you want to bring to the show is my question to you. So with that said, we'll bring on the first caller. I'm just going to go through this in the list that they're in. So caller from 702, if you're ready, we're going to bring you onto the air, and then we'll go from there. So first caller of the night. Here we go. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Hi, Brandon. I can hear you.
Cool. And caller, what is your name and where are you calling from?
Well, Brandon, my name is Silphet, and I'm calling from Las Vegas, Nevada. We spoke on Facebook a few times.
Right on, man. Yeah, no, of course. I know exactly who this is. Yeah, we've been chatting on Facebook on and off for quite some time now. So good to hear you.
Thank you for having me on, yes.
And what would you like to bring to the show tonight?
Oh, well, first I'll tell you what happened for me, I guess, on December 21st. Really nothing. I've been pretty sick. I've been just laying in bed watching anime, and absolutely nothing has happened. I went out and bought food, and the streets are hustling, bustling, just like they always are. It's really sad. I was kind of expecting anything different, just anything. But I was really disappointed to see nothing.
Were you really disappointed? I mean, like in the back of your mind, like what were you expecting, so to speak?
I don't know. Like during the beginning of the day, I felt like I couldn't really see any stars, which was pretty, out of the ordinary. For like around 5 o'clock, they start getting really bright, and I couldn't see anything. And then I was like, "Oh, is this like something weird?" I was expecting maybe a UFO, kind of like you were, maybe just anything, but yeah, then the stars came and everything. It was just a normal night.
Yeah, and you know what, man? Like, I put up a post earlier in the week, and this was something that I sort of anticipated. Like, I saw the whole December 21st date as a chance for us to be humbled once again. A lot of people were going into it with these big expectations, and then we go into it, and then nothing happens, quote unquote, and then we're just like, oh man. But then the whole point, I mean, if you actually did go with an expectation, is to just really think about it. And I mean, do we need what we were expecting to happen in order for us to still be motivated to move forward? Like I think it's just us saying, like, we don't need like a huge giant spectacle, because like the work that is taking is like an internal thing. A lot of people will say it's sort of look at it that way, I guess. So I mean, yeah, like I think what you're saying is something, and I'm glad you called in, man. Like, I think what you're saying is something that can be a reflection of what a lot of people within the spiritual community might have been feeling, because there was a lot of hype behind it, man. And then the fact that no UFOs showed up, like, what? Like, oh my God. But that humbles us. That just went to prove that, this day was just another day, and we're not always going to get those crazy magical experiences, because like sometimes when we do, it will sort of like almost distract us, so to speak. So I mean, I think in some ways, like, the universe is sort of being very subtle in a lot of like these energy shifts, and that's where you get a lot of people who would almost mock the whole December 21st thing, saying that like, oh well, like for them it's like they're like, I knew nothing was going to happen on December 21st, and nothing did happen, or spirituality is bullshit, and there's like, yeah, like
people love to say that.
Yeah, exactly, right? It just gives them a chance to bash it. So, I mean, it gives them a chance to sort of, like, feel as if they got this upper hand, and it's almost, for some of us, it gives us a chance to sort of reevaluate where our priorities are. I mean, do we need this sort of validation in order to be confident about the work that we need to do? And I say, not necessarily. I mean, the only validation that we need is our own validation, like, are we confident in ourselves, and to be able to like move forward from there. I think it's just really the simple way of looking at it. So
that is a good way of looking at it. There's a few things I have to add though, and the first one would be, how do we know what happened? Because as we've only experienced like a few windows of what is going on into the world, and we experience our world through YouTube, through Google, and who's in control of Google? Is it somebody that wants you to know the truth? Is it somebody that's hiding the truth? Who knows, Anything could have happened yesterday, and it could have been covered up. It could have been hidden. And also, we've switched calendars quite a bit since the Mayan calendar, so we could be just a little bit off. Who knows?
That's actually something that as soon as today came around and we're still here, suddenly there's new articles popping up on the internet saying that it turns out that the Mayans were actually slightly off, and it's December 23rd. That's the real date when it's like a whole bunch of apocalyptic. Really? So yeah, I mean, if you can go, you'll see some stuff about this. So suddenly, like we're sort of like creating like this new sense of anticipation within the next like 48 hours. We're like, well, nothing happened on the 21st, but maybe something will happen on the 23rd. We're like, and then will something again? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's neither here nor there for me. Again, like I expect nothing, but I'm open to anything. And what you're saying, like, who's to say nothing happened? And I mean, and I talked in my video, like, people were saying, like, what's going to happen? Like, for me, personally, in my own circle, in my own bubble, my message was, I'm going to make something happen. Like, what's going to happen on the 21st is whatever I make happen, and that's where we did our sign holding thing on our meditation. The shift is you, right? And then, but again, like, who's to say what did and what didn't happen? Who's to say what we don't know about? Who's to say what's happening behind closed doors, right? Because there is like even this idea that there's stuff that's happening in this dimension, and then there's like stuff that's happening on like higher dimensions, right? So I mean, if there was all this energy this date, like, it's kind of asinine, I think, that quote unquote nothing happened. But I was kind of joking about that today. I was like, yeah, man, like, who's to say that a giant UFO didn't like land up in the Antarctic and we just like didn't hear about it yet or something, So.
Exactly, because nobody wants you to hear about it. And also, if the whole Earth did raise to a fifth dimension, how would any of us know? It would look exactly like this one.
Yeah,
we would not be able to tell.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one way of simply looking at it, like, this already is a dream. I mean, a lot of people sort of like wrap their mind around that. Like, this is just like a denser form of a dream. So, I mean, I think, kind of going back to what I was saying, I think the energies are always increasing, and like the vibration of the Earth, like the heart of the Earth is continuing to go up in frequency. And this is something, been documented in I remember seeing it in like Esoteric Agenda, that that documentary that came out quite a while ago, and it talked about this, that the frequency of the Earth is actually continuing to escalate, and as it does, it's having a direct effect on us. So there's no reason to think that something absolute was supposed to happen on December 21st, but that doesn't mean that nothing will happen in the coming months. I mean, as things continue to escalate, we can expect to see that stuff will happen, quote unquote, stuff will happen within the coming months, within the coming years, obviously. Like, I think it's just something that's going to continue to build, but it will be a subtle thing. And for those who don't have the eyes to see it, they may be blind to it entirely. So,
yes. I was also thinking something else, is maybe that date is more important, not for us, for me and you, for the people who are very open-minded, but for those who are, like the bankers that just sit in the office all day and they make their checks, and they have their families, and that's all that life is to them. That's all they know. But for this date for them, something changing with the magnetics of the Earth or whatever, maybe for some reason it's starting to open people's minds up, other people's minds, they don't have this certain like openness to new ideas, to their consciousness. Maybe it's kind of like a nest egg sort of thing, like we're in a cocoon state.
Yeah.
Like soon we're going to be even more open-minded, and soon other people who we thought were closed-minded will find themselves more open.
I agree. No, I do agree. And to give you a direct example of that, going back to the power of reaching out into our community and the sign holding project that I was talking about that we did yesterday, a prime example of this was when we were doing all this sign holding thing. One of the people who came up and talked to us doing it was really interested in it, but he had never really been into any of this meditation stuff, or those were his own words. He was like, oh, like, I have nothing better to do tonight. And then he ended up coming out to our meeting that we had later that night. And for him, it was a totally new experience. And I think that in itself is a huge message. The fact that, like, this guy who, like, he's like, I don't know what his life is outside of like, you know, what I only met him just yesterday and stuff. But again, like he said, like he wasn't into any of the spiritual stuff, but he was open to it. He was open to just listening. And then last night was like such a new experience for him, and it really, I think, it set his life in a different direction, because I know that we're going to see him again, and he's already like, now that we've created that connection, the connection is there. Like the only thing that's going to sever it is him severing it. But I mean, that, you know, that's unlikely, because he's tasted something that is refreshing, that is new to him, and that is like absolutely loving. Like to be in the room that he was in last night, like, I mean, I enjoyed it, and I've been in that room like a whole bunch of times already. So I mean, I can only imagine what it was like for him to just like, you know, go from just being on a bus where everybody is just sitting there and no one's talking to each other, to go into a room where people are like completely open and loving and hugging each other. Like that was just, I would love to be able to get like a testimonial to hear what he has to say. But going back to what you're saying, I think that's what we'll see more of. We'll see more people who will be opening up to these conversations, because again, like this whole idea is that it's a process of remembering. So nobody is a lost soul. Like nobody is too far gone, because within each and every one of us, there is that innate knowing that like we are connected to everything. And then as that starts to come more into our lives, we start finding ourselves more drawn to topics that aren't necessarily being brought up in the mainstream. So I mean, even something as simple as like sacred geometry. Like I guarantee you, if you show sacred geometry to anyone, even if they don't actually like know what they're looking at, a part of them in the back of their mind, a part of them like in their soul will be like,
oh, that's cool,
interesting, that has my attention. Like why am, and then, you know, like they'll ask themselves like, why am I so drawn to that, right? And then when they start like, you could explain sacred geometry to someone in like 2 minutes. Like, this is a representation of infinity, ... you know? And they're just like, whoa, wait, what? Really? 2 minutes later, they understand how infinity works in terms of, like, micro, macro, like, as is above, so is below, fractals, you know, like the spiral on our thumb is the same spiral in the galaxy, and, you know, like, simple things like that. Like, it's not impossible to be able to take these concepts that in the past have been sort of behind closed doors and express them in a way that is going to be understandable for people who are still in this mainstream culture to be able to get it. And I think that's part of our goal through this whole paradigm shift stuff, is to be able to do that, is to be able to practice having these conversations so that we can more appropriately have similar conversations with people out in our community with the confidence to like not be like, you know, like, oh, like, you know, like second doubting ourselves. Like we've had this experience, we've had this practice, we know what we're talking about in the sense that we're confident with the dialogue that we're using, and then they're going to see that confidence, and it's just going to help like communicate that message. I mean, you know, like communicate language is such a tricky thing, so that's why we need to practice. So that's why like I'm glad that people such as yourself are like just being here on the show tonight, because, you know, like I'd love to continue to hear more from you about like just like opportunities where you're like getting those chance to like talk to someone, even just at a bus stop, or you know, just creating those like little moments where you're reaching out to a person and just really like giving them that like taste of something new, so to speak, right? So
absolutely. Well, I would love to give you stories like that. Unfortunately, out here the conscious level is a lot lower, so to speak. I've had a lot of shut-downedness from people that were my close friends a long time ago, actually. They say, like, why do you ask questions like this? It's so stupid. I'm like, because questions like these are a breath of fresh air compared to, like, what you think is reality, which is just working and making money and getting new parts for your car or whatever it is. Just kind of upsets me that, you know, I'm like, I don't know. I have another friend that these are his words exactly. He said, I don't know, man. It took me a long time to get to the level of understanding that I'm at right now. So I don't really want to like open up to new things.
Right.
And,
yeah.
He was basically trying to sell me something like salesy type. So he had been brainwashed, so to speak. But it's really sad. But then there's other people that you try to open up with. Mostly gas station clerks are really open-minded because they're always there 24 hours. And what can you say? You know, you make small talk every single night, and they end up being the nicest people you ever talk to. I'm pretty much really good friends with all of the gas station clerks around here, just because, you know, what they're used to is like a really grumpy, like, person just ready to gamble on the machine or whatever,
Yeah,
or buy
yeah.
alcohol.
No, that's I hear you, man. Like I really do, and I'm glad that we've been able to connect in a lot of ways, because I think a lot of people who would almost be in a similar boat with that you're in would sort of just like put their hands up and just say like, "Oh, it's pointless, why bother, why try or whatever." But again, the fact that we're connected like right now, like I don't even have to tell you anything new, but like keep going, like don't give up, man, because I mean, like you said, even just having those small chats with the gas station attendants, like that's gonna add up to something, and like I would encourage you to start, like just keep your feelers open and start to see if there's a place where you might be able to have like physical meetings somewhere, and just to like put out the word in some way or another, because even if like you're, like you said, like your immediate friends aren't responding, like you really got to pick and choose where you're putting your energy, because yes, like it is about trying to get the message out to people, but it's not about trying to like smash your head against a brick wall, like you really need to like pick and choose where you're putting your energy. So I mean, if you can become more conscious and more creative and more resourceful with where you're putting your energy, then I think that's where you're going to find it becoming more like, this idea that like anything that you put your energy into is going to come back to you threefold. So just being like very mindful of where you're putting your energy is just something that is just like a simple suggestion. And again, like it might feel that like you're sort of like, the only person out there, but I assure you, you're not. And I've said this before in the past, the fact that you may be one of the few people out there is just means that you have like an important role, in the sense that you may be one of the vanguard in helping like bring people out, because just because you're not running into them doesn't mean they're not there. And the fact is they are there. So like utilizing an understanding of synchronicity means that just by simply getting out there, focus on yourself, rest up. I know you said you're getting over a cold and stuff, but then 2013, do what you need to do, and there's no rush. Just sort of like keep a sort of a slow pace on everything. It's like watering a small plant, and this is exactly what happened within the beginning of Paradigm Shift London. Like it didn't happen overnight, and I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight, and that's how I looked at it, because like watering a small plant, you continue to water it, and then once it gets bigger, you move it into a bigger pot. But you can't start off watering a small plant in a big pot. Like it doesn't really work that way. So I mean, just patience, commitment, confidence, like that's really what we need. And that's where like a community that we have, that you're a part of, that is mine as equally as it is yours, is such an important thing. Because again, man, like your story is the story of so many people out there. There's millions and millions and millions of humans out there in the world. How many people are listening to this radio show right now, right? Like we are the minority. We're doing it, and we're not going to stop, and it is going to build up over time. So just keep doing what you're doing, and I don't really think I really need to like remind you that, because I know you got a good head on your shoulder, man. I know we've had some good conversations and stuff, so just continue to keep in touch and everything, right? And keep watching that anime. That stuff's inspirational, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the wise words of wisdom, man. You always give the best advice. I really appreciate it.
And you know what? Just I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, man. And just one thing, because you mentioned it, how you're getting over a cold, and I've said this before, and this is just something for anyone to keep in mind. And I heard about this somewhere else, but to me, oh, that makes sense. Think about it this way: when we have something like a simple cold, or or it could be something really catastrophic, or so to speak. But when you have something as simple as a cold, one way to look at it is that it's your body going through a process of taking out the stuff that it needs to from your system, so that by the time that you're done being sick, you're actually going to be healthier than what you were before you were sick. Like it's you clearing out the junk, so that your vibration, quote unquote, is going to like raise by the time you're healthier. And it's a natural process that we go through all the time. Like sometimes we'll do that. Like sometimes, like I was sick earlier in the week, and it was kind of interesting because like it was right before the December 21st, but like I didn't see it as like, oh crap, I'm sick, oh, like what horrible timing. The fact of the matter was, it was almost beyond my control. Like, like it just sort of happened. But then I was just like, this is interesting, like getting sick right before December 21st. So, I did my best to get healthy, knowing that by the time I was done being sick, I was actually going to be like at a higher level than what I was before I was sick. I'm almost like happy that I get sick sometimes, knowing that I'm going to go up that next step by the time I'm done being sick. So if you can sort of turn it into a positive thing, it will actually help with the healing process as well, like even in terms of like it happening faster. So don't stop, like if you feel the green stuff coming up, just keep drinking your liquids, keep clearing it out of your system, and you'll be healthier in no time. So just something to keep in mind.
Oh, absolutely, and plenty of fluids and fruit.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta get some vitamin C, vitamin D in you, so that'll help definitely.
Yes.
Cool, man.
There is one more message that I would love to bring to the show, and to just get that out there, and if you're willing to listen, then basically, I've been thinking a lot about when I was a kid and what I grew up liking, what I thought was cool, what I thought was not cool, what I thought was girly, like Barbie dolls or G.I. Joes. Guns were cool, Call of Duty, you get the idea. And really looking back on it, everything that I liked, and probably for the same for a lot of people, is really just a reflection of what everybody else liked, what my friends liked, the music they liked, what they thought was cool, what they thought was not cool. And to fit in, I liked the same things, so to speak. But, I added my own zest, my own twist to it, or whatever you'd want to say. And so I guess in society, we're so turned against each other, and we always wonder why. And I guess one of the ways you can point it out to it is video games. Huge, huge way to turn people against each other. I mean, since I was a kid, I've been killing people in video games over and over again every day, thousands and thousands of people in Grand Theft Auto and every game there is, just about. It's just been countless, and subconsciously that does something to you. That just makes you feel like that's what you're supposed to do. This is normal, killing people, and even if those people are your friends or whatever, I feel like that, on a deeper level, that we all need to stop buying into the distractions and the competitiveness. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do agree, man. There comes a time where we have to put the controller down and start playing the most realist game of all. And that's the reality that we're in, when you sort of look at it this way, this reality is MMORPG in its own way, we're constantly gaining new experience points and unlocking new abilities and new upgrades and getting new stuff like that. So, yeah, man, I think for me, video games has always been an interesting topic for me, and I think there is a lot that can be talked about with that. And it's been interesting for me because I spent so much time playing video games. Even just a year ago this time last year, I was still ripping through Skyrim, man. I was just into that thing, right? And it was a very spiritual experience for me in its own way. But eventually, my computer broke. My gaming mouse broke, and my PC just sort of crapped out, and I'm thinking about fixing it and stuff. But it was almost the reality that I was in just sort of forced me, quote unquote, to let it go. And I was able to do that. And because I was able to let go of those video games, it allowed me to put more energy into a lot of the other stuff, such as the paradigm shift stuff. So there's a time and a place for video games, but yes, you don't want to allow yourself to become so controlled by them, are you playing the game or is the game playing you? Oh, you know, and I think a lot of people, they go to video games because it's a form of escapism, and it's because a lot of them probably don't have anything better to do, or they don't know of anything better to do. I would say if you're thinking about playing a video game, but you know how to play guitar, go play guitar over the video game. That's a far more visceral experience. You're actually working with harmonics there. You're working with sound vibrations and stuff. That's something so much more creative. The video game is going to be pretty much the same every time around, and 10 minutes after you're done playing, you're probably going to forget exactly what happened. But video games can be such an interesting thing. They can be such a powerful tool for teaching, but like any tool, it just depends on how we use it. So it'll be interesting to see where video games will be in the future. I mean, the fact is they're becoming so repetitive at this point that maybe as people continue to grow up, video games will just sort of become not as much a dominant aspect of their life. So yeah, it is what it is, like anything.
Yeah. What I more meant is sort of towards the psychological aspect of if anybody out there, who's listening or whatever that has grown up playing video games like I have, growing up killing for fun, do you think that, I guess my question to you, do you think that that's something that's sort of created a darkness in all of us? That's what's fun for us, is killing another creature, even if it's simulated or digital or whatever.
Well, that's like that's a big, that can be taken right to like the Supreme Court, like this whole idea of, like, do violent video games cause violent people? And that can go straight into like, going back in the day, like do violent movies cause violence in people? And there's a lot of people they can tie this in with the whole recent incidents going into like the Sandy Hook stuff that happened obviously most recently. And yes, it does have an effect. It does have an effect on our psyche as to like how we let it define our characters, dependent on the individual. And since every individual is so unique, based on like, sort of like their culture that they're raised in, it's their personal responsibility as to like how they view that. I mean, for me, I've grown up being pretty desensitized to a lot of stuff. Now that doesn't mean that I have I have a cold heart or I don't feel or anything like that, but I can disconnect from the reality of a video game and the reality of real life. But are there children who at a young age, who are 13, 12 years old, who are spending all their time just like you said, just killing people in a video game? Like, yeah, what is that doing to? And I think that's something that we're too early into it to really be able to see the lasting effects of it. But I think it's something that you're right. Like as a culture, we do need to sort of like take precedent over like what is actually happening here. And it is a big thing, man. I mean, yeah, like I think all we can really do is sort of like keep it in mind, and then what are we going to do once we have our own children is the question. Am I going to let my kid play video games? Yeah, and it will depend on the video game. Am I going to let him sit there and play video games and rot his mind and become like totally desensitized? No, I wouldn't let it happen. Like as a parent, like I take on the responsibility of like saying like, all right, like time to put the controller down, time to go outside, like let's go, do the real stuff, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, parents, like the culture has to be a sort of parent in this. But I mean, it's such a big thing. But no, you do bring up a good point, man. And like you said, like I think that could be a whole conversation itself, and that could be a whole conversation that would take place like in a paradigm shift community meeting, or just one-on-one with someone. But it's something that you're right. No, it is something that has always been coming up. So it's definitely not something that's just going to fade away come tomorrow. So I hear you.
Right.
Cool, man. All right. Well, man, I do appreciate you calling in. And for anybody who's listening on the live chat, I'm just going to post, since I already have it in front of me, I'm going to post your link to your Facebook in the live chat, if that's cool with you. So people, is that cool with you? Because I was just going to say.
That's cool with me.
People who are you're in Las Vegas, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So for people who are in Las Vegas, add Soul Silphet or whatever you go by. Or I mean, do you have a first name that you go by per se?
My first name is Silphet. I had changed it from Soul because I don't really trust Facebook.
Okay, fair enough. So anybody who's listening to this or just happens to be listening to it who isn't in the live chat, it's facebook.com/soul with 2 L's .searcher.10, the number 10, 10. And there you'll be able to add him. And as well, I do have the link for the Paradigm Shift Las Vegas page. And I know you've connected through that page, and I would just continue to connecting through that because, I mean, I know Vegas is, there's a lot going on in Vegas, but we would love to be able to see more people in Vegas getting connected. So for anybody who happens to be in Las Vegas, please go to facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Las Vegas, connect with that page there. And I would love to be able to hear from you again, man, where you're actually, after this radio show, this radio show is going to do something, right? I mean, people who are listening to this right now, there's people in Vegas who are going to hear about this and are going to reach out to you. And then what happens at that point is really up to you guys. Again, there's going to be an opportunity in front of you. And I look forward to hearing what you create with that opportunity. So once again, man.
Together, guys. Yeah.
Right, man. Yeah, co-creation all the way. So cool, dude. All right, I appreciate you calling in as always, and drop me a line anytime on Facebook, and we'll keep in touch. So
absolutely. Thank you for having me on, Brendan. I really appreciate it, and thank you, listeners.
Yeah, that's right. Going. All right, okay. Take it easy, bro. I'll talk to you later.
You too. Talk to you later.
Cool, guys. All right, so there we go. That was one caller in, and we'll get to a group meditation as per usual. We'll probably do that around 12:30. I'm just going to keep rolling along with the callers here, and I'm just sort of looking because there was one particular caller. Well, one second, guys. There was one particular caller who was calling in, and I don't see him in the... Oh, now okay, good. Oh, actually, he's already on the top of my list, so he would have been the next guy I would have brought on either way. Cool, okay, so I know who I'm going to be bringing on next, and I'm not putting him at the top of the list because he actually coincidentally already is at the top of the list. So the next person who I'm going to be bringing on is Jonathan, and Jonathan is with Paradigm Shift Fredericton, which is in New Brunswick. So for anybody who's in there, I'll post the link to the Paradigm Shift Fredericton, which is a group opposed to a page, so the address is not as straightforward, but you can find it through the paradigmshiftcentral.com/directory through there. So Jonathan from Paradigm Shift Fredericton, if you're ready, I'm going to be bringing you onto the air. Here we go. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, dude.
Hey.
You can hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Cool,
What's
cool,
up?
man. So obviously I sort of already introduced you. This is Jonathan from Paradigm Shift Fredericton. And man, let me just say, first of all, thank you so much. We've been chatting a little bit here and there on Facebook, and you I don't want to take the story from you. I want to hear the story from you firsthand. But you've been up to a couple things most recently in your community, have you not?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I went to the mall and gave out free hugs.
Right on, man. How'd that go for you?
Yeah, it went pretty good. So I started this group, and not too many people show up. But I'm a pro fighter, right? I do mixed martial arts, and most of my friends are fighters. And I was just at the gym Monday, and I talk to them about this stuff all the time. And I was just like, listen, I need to do something because, talking about it's one thing, but you got to put action to it. And I really believe that. So I got some friends to help me. My friend Eric, he's a amateur fighter, and he's the 170-pound champion for an amateur organization called Cage Rage. And he was videotaping it, and he's going to be editing the video and putting it on Facebook here soon in a couple of days. And a couple of other guys that I trained with, we went down in the mall, and we went in there like we were assassins of love, and we were assassinating with everybody with hugs, man.
Yeah, man, get those clean punches. Just be like, 1, 2, punch, love, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool because my boxing coach, he was with me, and he's a pretty tough guy, and we would go up to some of the guys in the mall, and they didn't really want to hug us because they're guys and they're afraid to, I guess. But we were just like, man, me and this guy, we're pro fighters, and we're tough as hell, and we hug each other. And I was like, here, we'll do a 6-second hug, and just to show you. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, I think I'm really interested in where you're coming from in all this, like being what you just said, like being involved with the mixed martial arts, because a lot of people, they see mixed martial arts on TV and they sort of have this image of it, and yeah, you're right, like this sort of tough guy mentality, and rarely sort of do we actually see past that. So for you to be able to go out there, I mean, whether people actually know that you're a mixed martial artist or not, I mean, obviously, you probably look like a kind of intimidating guy to some people, I would imagine, just being like fairly well built and stuff, and I think that is like such an awesome thing for people to be able to see that like it's everybody who's involved with it, like including the quote unquote like blockheads, and I'm not calling you that, but like as a culture, you would think that like the jocks would be like some of the last people to be intellectually involved with this whole paradigm shift thing happening. So I mean that's such a cool thing that you guys are doing that, and the fact that it's not just you, but it's actually like a whole team of you guys. That there's
team's energy. That's who we are, and then we went in there and did what we did there. But like fighters, like a lot of the fighters I know, they're really cool guys. Like they're not like douchebags, So
Absolutely, because I mean, fighting in itself is a whole discipline behind it. Like it's not like you're just literally going in there and just like just throwing punches for no reason. It's a martial art. So hand with it.
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you're trained in specifically?
Well, I box, but I also do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu is they say it's the gentle art. So and that's my specialty. So like with jiu-jitsu, it's sort of like what Bruce Lee said in Enter the Dragon when that guy asked him what's your style, and he said my style is the art of fighting without fighting. And to me, that's what jiu-jitsu is, because I don't have to like throw punches and like mess somebody's face up. I just take them to the ground and control them and put them in choke holds or like submission holds and put them in a position where they have to accept defeat.
Yeah, that's like, oh man, like I think there's a whole conversation in here in itself. Like just the idea of being able to like transfer energy, right? Like I mean, someone will come at you with a punch and you actually use that energy of the punch to like turn it into like a grapple, which is suddenly like reversing the energy back at them in some way or another, right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure, man. Yeah.
And like I mean, yeah, there's absolutely. I mean, martial arts is like a very spiritual, philosophical thing in its own way. I mean, obviously, like you said, like Bruce Lee, like that guy is a role model. Like for me, he's a role model. I mean, if for those of you,
yeah, he's my role model, man. I look up to him, and like he was like the first mixed martial artist, man. Like, 'cause he was open-minded and he like took everything and he used what worked for him. And I think that's you can use that for everything in life, Learn be open-minded, learn like everything that you can, but use what works for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like be water.
Yeah.
That's simple thing. And then like Bruce Lee, like again, like he's like as you think, so shall you become. So yeah, so many great quotes from that man alone, and he's just such a, oh man, like I'm sure he's looking down on us and he's smiling and he just like, oh, I'm sure he would love to be a part of what we're doing, and he is a part of what we're doing because like we're
for sure, yeah.
represented, right? Because it wasn't just like Bruce Lee the man, like it was Bruce energy and the essence and the that he represented. So I mean, yeah, like he was such a powerful teacher, and I agree, man. Like I look up to him in so many ways. Like he's, oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, man. So tell me a little bit more. Like now I know like with the free hugs thing and stuff. Like did you guys have like a little run with security? Like was that part of the story?
Yeah. Well, we went throughout the whole mall and every store, and then we did our grand finale at Walmart. And like Walmart in Fredericton, that's like the most negative place on earth. And we just friggin' walked in there yelling, free hugs, free hugs. Nobody was really giving us hugs there. And then security guard came up and he was like, you guys have to go. I was just like, okay, but I have to tell you something. I said, love and light, my friend, and namaste. And he was like, what? And so we left.
Yeah, no, I think I would just say, and for anybody who's listening to this and is thinking about doing it on your own, just in terms of like tactics and sort of like seeing what works and what doesn't work, I mean, there's a time and a place to yell, but I mean, when you're yelling, you don't want people to be like pushed away by the fact that you're yelling, right? Like sometimes if your sign is visible enough, like it's powerful to say almost nothing at all, right? And let them like read the message on their own. Because I mean, yeah, you don't want it to just be like running at people, just be like, hug me,
No, for sure.
Yeah.
We just thought it was appropriate at that point in time because I kind of knew that we were going to get kicked out anyways at that point in time, so I was like, let's go out with a bang.
Like sometimes you just got to shake the system a little bit because, I mean, otherwise, yeah, people aren't going to pay attention to it. I mean, yeah, if you didn't scream, people in Walmart would just be like friggin' tunnel vision. Like sometimes you need to create that little bit of noise in order to just like get them to be like, whoa, what's going on? What's this? What? Something different? Oh, no. And then what's there is up in the air. So yeah, there's a time and a place, and it's as a fighter, I'm sure you know perhaps like more than some other people, like when is the appropriate time to like use your energy or to place it appropriately. So that's some very cool stuff, man. Now, was there anything else that you'd like to bring onto the show? Because I'm sure we can sort of keep things moving along here. We got a few other callers on the line, but I mean, by all means, is there anything else that you'd like to bring onto the show while you're still here?
I'll just do a couple of shout outs to some friends here. I want to shout out to my sister Melanie, my friend Manuel, Brandon, my boxing coach, Eric for videotaping, Becky, she's a boxing coach at Synergy Training Center. Ashley was Eric's girlfriend. And I want to do a big shout out to Team Synergy, and my coaches Dana Dickinson and Chris Snare. And I want to say good luck to my friend Matt DeRoche, because he has a fight in January, his fourth pro fight.
Right on, man. Right on. Sweet. No, it's anybody else who's calling in, feel free to use the opportunity to give your own shout-outs as well. That's actually a good thing to be reminded of. So, cool, man. Cool. And for anybody who's listening to this who happens to be in Fredericton, New Brunswick, I posted the link for the Facebook page, or you can just run a search in Facebook, facebook.com/Fredericton. You'll be able to connect there. And Jonathan, I posted your information for your Facebook into the live chat, presuming that's something you're okay with. I mean, more people who are listening to this can get...
Oh, yeah, for sure, man.
Through that way. Once you have the video up, don't just post it onto Facebook, upload it to YouTube as well, and then I'll be able to link it into the show once it's up there, so people will be able to see it firsthand. So that was pretty cool. Okay. All right, and so anything that you felt was adamant that you'd want to talk about? I mean, any sort of like thoughts on like the future of where we're going, and whether or not like anything in particular you got behind there?
Oh, I just want to say that me and my friend Eric were having a conversation just a couple of days before Friday, and we were talking about the shift, and he brought up that he thinks the shift is up to us, and I really believe that, and I think that we have to make the shift, and there's a reason why we're all in this, because I think we're put on this earth to help people by raising their vibrations and their frequencies. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say, really.
Yeah.
So keep up the good work, man. Everybody keep up the good work.
Yeah, not just me, it's everyone. Everyone keep up the good work. I mean, it's happening, guys. Like I'm quite pleased with where we are right now, and I see a lot of potential in where we were going. And just a sort of shout out to my dog, so you can probably bark in the background right now. Yeah. To mention that sort of sparked my memory, and I'll just mention it now while I'm still thinking about it. You know, you're saying like it's up to us and stuff like that, and sort of going back to what Silphet was saying, this idea of like having expectations and then sort of not being fulfilled, and then what do we do with it? There was a story that came up the other night in our Paradigm Shift meeting, and there's a girl who's there, and she may get a chance to listen to this show, and if so, like I'm not using her name personally, but I mean she's quite open about this story. And she was talking about how she's been diagnosed with a brain tumor. She's had it for quite some time, and how that's her life. And the fact that, you know, this brain tumor in so many ways has like the character help like she has today. One thing that I sort of said to her was this idea that keep in mind, like for each and every one of us, for our own personal lives, and to take this on a big macro scale to like the entire encompassing experience of the globe, we chose ourselves. Meaning,
I think your mic's cutting out there, bud.
Okay, how bad is it right now? Is it
it's
check?
Good now. Yeah, it's
okay
good
now.
Yeah.
We chose this experience for ourselves, both on an individual level, meaning like us within our own personal life, and as well as like on a bigger global level, as us as an entire collective species, so to speak. So with her, like this whole experience that she had of having a brain tumor, in a lot of ways, it wasn't there to knock her down. It was there for her to test herself, to prove that she could work through it, and to prove that she had the strength to like heal herself and to overcome,
sure.
like have, you know, like a lot of people, you don't really know the strength that you have until like your life is on the line, so to speak, and then you're just like, no, I'm not going. Like I'm myself, right? And I think that's...
Yeah, man, there's no progress without struggle. I really believe that.
Absolutely, man. And you know, like kind of what I was saying to her is that you see these people in our lives around us, and they're people who have cancer, and they're people who are in wheelchairs, and they happen to be some of the most positive people that we know. And
yeah, man.
Empowering thing. It's just like, okay, like here we are complaining about the little things. Here they are, you know, like they got like this chronic disease or thing, and they're teaching us a thing or two about positivity. And I think that inspires us, and that's something that we can take with us even further to say, like, all right, we have no excuses. Like, really, excuses aside, like, now is the time to, like, be serious, to be committed to what we need to do. So, yeah, just a little side story that I think is something to keep in mind. Like, again, we choose our own experience. Like, we choose what we're going through right now, and it's definitely helping us refine ourselves into our potential, help us develop our potential, what we can really accomplish. And yeah, I agree, man. There's a lot that we can do, but it's up to us. It's not just going to happen. To expect it to happen, like to depend on an external circumstance to occur, that's stupid. Like, that's foolish. Like, I mean, yeah, like, we want something to happen, make it happen, right?
No, for sure, yeah.
I think we'll let you go for now. We got a couple more people who I think would probably like to come on there, but again, I'll post the links into the live chat. So for anybody who's in the area and anybody who's not, feel free to add Jonathan, keep in touch, and be able to see what he's up to, and keep an eye on the Paradigm Fredericton page there as well. So cool, dude. All right, man. Thanks again, and keep in touch on Facebook. And again, I really do appreciate what you're doing, and just keep doing it, right? So.
Okay. Namaste.
Hey, bro. Cheers.
Peace.
All right. Cool, guys. All right, so again, that was Jonathan from Paradigm Shift Fredericton. All right, guys, so moving along, I'm literally just going down the list here, and we have 6 people in the queue. We'll see how many we can get to. I mean, if we push back the meditation a little bit, that's no big deal, and we'll just sort of go from there. So, excuse me, person from who's on phone number 8505880, just brace yourself, because I'm going to be bringing you onto the air, and here we go.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
And what is your name, and where are you calling from?
My name is Philip, and I'm calling from Baltimore, Maryland.
And what would you like to bring to the show tonight?
I would like to discuss 432 hertz as being the universal frequency of everything, because my whole entire past 2 years has been centered around tuning all of my instruments to 432 hertz as opposed to 440 hertz, because of the fact that I've seen it in cymatics. You know, the art of looking at sound with the whole, sound coming through the steel plate and whatnot. I made a video on the internet called 432 hertz verified, where I show the frequency sweep on a steel plate, where they show all the different patterns arising, and they only became solid when they were in tune with 432 hertz.
Okay, cool.
Meaning, and that's pretty much what I want to tell everybody that exists, pretty much, because it's the truth. Because there's a lot of misinformation about what the actual cardinal frequencies are. There's 528 and the Silphet geo frequencies and stuff, but it's misinformation, because, well, I've seen a lot of, it just is. I'll just say that I have experiences with 432 hertz that can only be described as sober psychedelic experiences, when you're all of a sudden you're in a spaceship and you're going throughout the whole entire cosmos on the inner universe, and you're just like, you come back to the ground and you're just like, whoa, did my pineal gland just like dump a whole bunch of DMT in my brain just now? I guess so. Whoa. And it's the most powerful thing that I've ever been able to experience on this planet, And the trees started speaking to me and stuff like that, and there was this cosmic web of rainbow light that was guiding me like a marionette to see all my past dealings. I found out I was never born, it was like confirmation that I was never born and I've never died, pretty much. At least my consciousness hasn't. I've probably been through many bodies, but that's pretty much. I mean, have you ever heard of 432 hertz?
Well, that's the thing, man. Like, I mean, as soon as you mentioned the 432 thing, because you've messaged me a few times in the past, and I didn't really get the chance to fully like have a conversation with you. So I'm glad that you're here now, and we're getting this chance to have this conversation, because just within the past couple of days, I've had topics with people. Okay, sorry. First of all, is my microphone okay? If some people in the live chat just want to confirm, okay. I just want to double check. But yeah, I've had several conversations within the last couple of days of people who are very closely involved with music production, and they were just talking about like the different frequencies and the harmonics and stuff, and again talking about cymatics, and for those of you who maybe unfamiliar with the term cymatics is the study of like sound vibrations, and if you look up cymatics on YouTube, you'll see a very simple visual representation of cymatics. So it's CYMATICS, cymatics. Yeah, that's about right. And you'll see, you know, like just simply by having some sand on a simple board that has like a resonating frequency under it, you'll see these shapes and these patterns emerge, which are sacred geometry, so to speak. And then through the change in the frequency, by changing the frequency either up or down, a new shape emerges, a new pattern emerges. And as the frequency increases, the patterns of the cymatics like become like more complex, so to speak. So I mean, I think being able to understand in the first place that everything is vibration. You know, a lot of people who maybe listen to this radio show probably have that understanding, and I think that's something that if we can express this to people in the mainstream in a way that they'll be able to understand it, I think that will be a big way to help them shift their paradigms, to be able to understand that like everything literally exists as vibrations, and you know, the fact that like we as humans are so much water, and then this goes hand in hand with this idea of like water can hold on to memory and how directly it's affected by water. Then this sort of takes us to what you're saying about like the influence that a specific frequency can have on us, like on our body, as well as like our thoughts and our experiences. So how did you find out, like, what, like, can you explain to us more, like, why is 432 such, like, what's so important about it? Like, is this something that you found out on your own, or does this number sort of go back to something that, like, even, like, other cultures knew about? Has this sort of been, like, something that's been, like, underneath, like, you know, an esoteric knowledge, so to speak? Because I'm not too familiar with...
I've found it's in all the different holy books that I've heard of. I mean, 144 is in the Bible, and when you tune to 432 hertz, the D note becomes 144 hertz, and the C note becomes 128 hertz, which is divisible all the way to the power of 2. So, for example, you have 1, double it, 2, 4, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and 512. Just like our RAM, you know how RAM started out like that? You started coming out with new central processors that had these, you know, numbers, 256. Why is it doubling like that? Well, I have the theory why C, the note C is the center note on the piano, is because that's like in the middle of, it all goes down to 1. And then there's this thing on the internet called the most harmonic numbers, and it shows the matrix of how these numbers spiral out from 1, 2, and then it doubles all the way through C, and then you go over on powers of 3, like 1, 3, 9, 32. Anyway, it's just like times 3, and then you'll see all the other numbers fold out like that, and then these are all musical tones. Also, what was very interesting was 432 times 432 is 186,600 something, which is the speed of light. And it clicked to me why I was able to connect to the stars when I was singing in harmony with these frequencies, because I was basically matching their tones.
You're on that frequency to be able to like receive the literal like information of light itself, so to speak. No, that's really cool, man. Because I mean, yeah, in terms of like frequency and stuff, yeah, like I've sort of talked about this in the past episode. I'm not sure if you heard it, but I sort of use this analogy of tuning our etheric antenna, Because, I mean, so much of what we're doing here involves with frequencies. So, I mean, if we can be more mindful of the frequencies that we're receiving, it's also going to help us, like, change the frequencies that we're emitting. And in the process of doing that, we're going to start receiving new information. We're going to start, like, opening ourselves up to the sensitivity around us. So, I mean, you know, a lot of people were sort of talking about, like, you know, with the whole 21st thing and stuff, like, are we going to start having, like, more abilities? Are we going to start being able to, like, have access to more information? And again, one way of looking at a lot of this perception stuff, like, this reality is, like, super hyper dimensional stuff to begin with. Like, what we're seeing right now is us with our filters on, and it's us, like, we're constantly, like, filling in the gaps, and we're constantly, like, crystallizing things so it's to a point where we can comprehend it without us, like, being tripped out by it. But when you take the filters off, there's so much energy and so much noise and so much vibration going on. So, I mean, to be able to understand that is to be able to, like, understand the importance of, like, how we can use sound to, like, adjust, like, our own frequencies so that, like, we're receiving more frequencies or different frequencies that are around us that are on those corresponding wavelengths, so to speak. Does that make sense to you? Did I sort of explain that in a way that made sense to you, Ali? Yeah, okay.
That's one thing I wanted to talk about. Have you ever heard of orgonite? Oh, of course. I mean, it was in spirit science. Orgonite, the material that has a metal and crystals in it, and they put it in cell phone towers. Like, I'm not used to speaking on cell phones. I'm speaking on it right now, and there's actually, like, a crystal taped on the back of his cell phone, so I just think it's funny. But I'm sure that these frequencies interact with these crystals in some way. But I'm out of information. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about was 432 hertz.
Yeah. Now I was okay. So if people YouTube 432 hertz, there's, like, samples of files that they could listen to. Do you have any other resources that we can share with people that they would be able to, like, own 403? Because, I mean, you know, like, I have and this will actually lead us up into our meditation, and I actually want to get your insight on this.
Yeah.
Planning, because I do have like, you're familiar with solfeggio harmonics, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have some specific hertz from solfeggio harmonics uploaded that that I was planning on using for our meditations today, and I wanted to ask you if there's a particular one that you think would be most beneficial in terms of using it for a meditation. So the hertz that I do have are 285, 396, 417, which is close to 432, and the next one that I have is 852. Okay, out of those, is there one, like, would 417, the fact that it's close to 432, does that make it more something, so to speak?
I think that's why people like these tones to begin with, but I think the proof is in the pudding of just looking at the cymatic tones resonate on the steel plate. I mean, time and time again, you'll see these patterns rise up, and when you see the patterns become solid, they'll only be in tune with the tones that are matched with 432 hertz in that matrix.
So where do the solfeggio harmonics come in? Because, I mean, my buddies explained it to me before, and I know they're important. Can you explain to us what the solfeggio harmonics are, so to speak? Is that something you're familiar with?
Well, I know Leonard Horowitz is the guy who is promoting this the most. But I've seen videos on YouTube that talk about it's being fraudulent, and it makes sense to me why it would be fraudulent in the fact that only one tone would be able to be playable if you were to tune your instrument to, like, 444, which means that the C would be 528. I mean, you're playing all these other different tones, but the only tone that you're playing is 528. You're leaving out, like, 417, 396, etc. When I first heard the solfeggio tones, it did sound nice in the fact that it was like a really cool arpeggio that I could kind of mimic on my flute. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if it's the actual arpeggio that has something to do with the universe. But I know very little about the solfeggio, because as soon as I found the 432 hertz, I just kind of stopped paying attention to 528 and all the rest.
Now, what because I was sort of having a conversation with a buddy who I ran into today, synchronistically. There was like, okay, the entire like music industry like changed the hertz of their music, so to speak. What, like, are you familiar with that? Like they changed it. What was it that they changed it from? Like, I mean, what should they be changing it to?
I've listened to a lot of jazz from the 1920s, and it's actually in 432 hertz. And they stopped, like in America, they started to slowly switch around the 30s. And by the 40s and 50s, all music pretty much around the world was tuned to 440 hertz. There's, that theory that it was Joseph Goebbels that did it, but I think that's just misinformation out there. I mean, he probably did, make it the standard in Germany, but that's not the bigger picture. The bigger picture is who backs the what's the name of it? The standards organization, the International Standards Organization, and like who's lining their pockets. That's what I want to look at, and why did they change it from 432 hertz to 440? I mean, the obvious answer for me is just like to disharmonize humanity. And I mean, if you look at humanity's relation to nature over the past 60 years, that pretty much sums it up for me. Really?
Yeah, man. I mean, music, like any other media, is such a powerful thing, especially when such, the massive culture is constantly listening to it. Yeah, if you were some sort of like quote unquote like Illuminati person, like how do you sort of like dumb down the masses, so to speak, control like the frequencies that they're receiving, and if you're doing it through the music that they're listening to every day, then that's definitely going to have an effect on them. So yeah, and that's really interesting, man. And I think like I'm definitely, now that you brought it up, like it's definitely on my radar, and I would love to be able to like get some 432 frequencies like on my headphones, like on my MP3 player, and I would love to be able to work that into my own meditation, and to be able to like report back to you with some of my own experiences and stuff, because music, sounds, frequencies, like they're such like a vital tool that we can use, and even when just people think about like our ohms, and our singing bowls and stuff like that, there's a reason why we do this, and it's because like we create those vibrations around and within us to be able to like, again, sort of like change the vibrations that we're like emitting, to sort of like tune our frequencies so that we can receive those other subtle energies and stuff. Now, okay, we'll go into our meditation soon. The 432, where does that sort of fall into place in terms of like the chakras? Because I mean, like the chakras each correlate like through different like resonating frequencies, so to speak. Is that something are you familiar with that? Where does the 432 lie in terms of chakras?
Yes, there's a whole series of videos on YouTube that's done by Jamie Guterez or something like that. It starts out with a video called The Cosmic 432, and he talks about how he found this CD called the Chakra Bowls, and they're all tuned to 432, and I think A is the crown chakra, and C is the heart chakra, and B flat is the root chakra, and F sharp is the solar plexus, which makes sense to me because F sharp is the speed of light, because if you take 432 times 432, you get that long number 186646 or something like that, and then you go down in octaves and you end up at the number 729. And I remember Plato talked about 729, and that's an F sharp. So if our solar plexus is our center of gravity, then that would make sense.
Yeah. That would make sense. Yeah, it's sort of like right in the middle, right? So, interesting. Cool.
Well, I do have some recommendations for anybody who wants to tune their music to 432. If you want to put it on your MP3 player, you're going to have to tune the actual MP3, and the easiest way that I found out to do it with the least amount of quality loss is to use a program called Goldwave, which is free, and you go into pitch, and at the 100, it says 100%. You switch it from 100% to 98.182, and I got to thinking, I'm like, aren't there two bands that have those numbers in them, 98 Degrees and Blink 182? And I was like, oh. So I thought it was a synchronicity. So yeah, that's the least amount of loss. I mean, I used to use Audacity, but I noticed there's like some kind of grainy sounds, and the easiest thing to do is to use foobar. If you don't want to convert it and you just want to listen to it on your computer and you have all this music that you don't want to convert but you still want to listen to it in 432, just download foobar and install this. Oh shoot! You know, there's a group on Facebook called the Cosmic 432, and they're always posting really good things about 432 and like how to listen to your music in 432 on there. But SoundTouch, that's the app that you install on foobar in order to tune it to 432 automatically.
Cool. Cool, man. Well, I know you're not at your computer right now. Send me links through Facebook, and I'll include them into the show notes and stuff, so people who are listening can check it out on their own. So, can you do that?
Okay.
Cool.
Yes, I can.
Sweet, man. Okay, now I'm actually really curious because I actually I bought, like, I have a singing bowl in my hand right now, and this is something I've been wanting to try for a while, but I lost my singing bowl stick, but I picked up a new. And I'm curious, I'd like to be able to try doing a singing bowl meditation with my actual singing bowl opposed to using an MP3 audio file, because that's not obviously the same quality. So, okay, right now I'm going to use my singing bowl, and I need you and anybody in the live chat to tell me what it sounds like, if this is something that will actually be audible. And if so, we'll try that. We'll try doing today's meditation with me actually doing a singing bowl, so to speak. So I'm just going to do it now, and I'm just going to do it for like 10 seconds, and you just tell me like if it's audible, so to speak, okay?
Okay.
Okay, all right, so here we go. So I'm just going to hit it first. Okay, so what's that sound like? How's that sound?
Great.
Yeah, it sounds like clean?
Uh-huh. It's a B flat in 432.
Is it really?
Yep, root chakra.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, perfect, man. So we can actually use this then, and the fact that it's like in 432, like you're for sure, like your ear knows that, eh?
Yes, I have my tuner right here, and it's slightly flat, but that we use an equal temperament thing that slightly makes notes sharper or flatter than the way they actually are in order to fit them all into 12 notes on a keyboard. But notes like 432 are always like the same on the keyboard. I'm sick of explaining that, but.
All right. Well, okay. Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, I'm gonna get into our meditation, like soon as possible. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we sort of let you go and continue with what we're doing?
No, that's everything I wanted to talk about. I'm really thankful that I was able to discuss that on this radio program.
No, I think it's just there's so many topics that we have yet to even properly touch on, and this was just one of them. So I mean, yeah, I'm really glad that you brought this to us, because I think it's definitely, we need to be mindful of how much like our reality is shaped by the frequencies around us. So very cool stuff, man. And again, if you're not in the live chat, but for anybody who's in the live chat, or for anybody who's listening to this, start doing that. Start YouTubing 432 hertz and just sort of see what you find. And you might be really surprised. And if you do find anything, feel free to send me some links about it, and we'll include any notes in the show notes as well. So cool, man. All right, Philip, thank you once again. And you're from Baltimore, right?
Uh-huh. Well, actually, I'm from California, but I'm living with my girlfriend right now in Baltimore.
Okay, cool. And do you want me to include your Facebook into the show notes as well, if people want to get in touch with you?
Yes.
So I'll do that. I don't have it off the. Sorry, what's your name on Facebook exactly? Because I'm just going to post that link.
Philip with one L. Guterez. That's Guterez.
Perfect. So I'm going to post your link into the Facebook, into the live chat. So anybody who's listening to the live chat right now, feel free to add Philip. Cool. All right, dude. Thanks a lot. Much appreciated, and we'll talk to you soon enough. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Right on. Okay, so here we go. We're getting ready to do some live singing bowl meditation stuff going on. So, all right, guys, with 15 minutes left in the show, let's just get comfortable, and I'll lead us through this meditation. So, okay, and yes, okay. Now we will do a live hangout after the show tonight. Though I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure if I'll be around for the entire after party afterwards, but I will leave it up and running on my computer. So if anybody wants to join in, you guys will be able to like do the Google. So just to clarify, after the radio show, traditionally for the past 3 episodes now, we've been doing after parties using Google Hangout. So once this radio show ends, if you're in the live chat, I'll post the link onto the live chat through the Google Plus Hangout. You can join that. If you don't have Google Plus, you can still watch the Hangout live through YouTube. So for anybody who's in the Hangout, keep in mind that it will be recorded and it will be broadcasting live. So be mindful of what you say, is stating the obvious. So, and again, keep an eye open for that link and continue the conversation from there, guys. That's really what this is about. Is just practicing, continuing the conversation, and connect. Make sure everybody who's in the live chat after, or if you want to do it right now, just before we get right into the meditation, feel free to post your Facebooks, your links to your profiles, and get connected so that we can continue to do that to strengthen the grid, to build our global community. Because that's, we might just do this once a week, but we don't have to wait once a week to create like magic on the go. So everybody who's in the chat, if you'd like to, post your Facebook and continue to just like add everyone, so to speak. So right on, guys. Okay, guys. So as you're doing that, I would just like to ask everyone to get comfortable. And just give me 1 second here. All right. Oh, and if you'd like, just a reminder, feel free to donate to Paradigm Shift Central, paradigmshiftcentral.com/donate, and those donations are, if you want to donate specifically to the Journey to Rockmont, feel free to mention that in a note, or if you just want to donate in general to help support Paradigm Shift Radio, because it costs us $40 a month through Blog Talk, then feel free to do that as well. Or if you would like to donate to me directly through the Skull Babylon Starving Artist Fund, you'll find a separate button through the website. So paradigmshiftcentral.com/donate. So, all right. Okay, guys. So let's get ready to do this, to go through with our meditation. So I'd just like to ask everybody to just gently allow themselves to get comfortable. Sit in your seat as you'd like to. Maybe if you're on your bed, gently cross your legs. And then just have your hands wherever they need to be. So if you'd like to, gently place them on your lap. Or just have them resting upon the tops of your thighs. So we'll just begin, like we do every meditation, with the breath. This is the one thing that's consistent, that has been with us, and that will continue to be with us throughout this entire experience. So just take a mindful breath now, in through the nose, and gently out through the nose. Just continue this rhythm. And as you do this, if you would like to, just straighten up your posture just a little bit, allowing the energy to flow even more fluidly to where it needs to go. So just imagine that there's a little piece of string attached to the top of your head, and someone's just pulling that string, just lifting you up, even if it's just a millimeter. Just continue the breath. Not this moment. With every breath, allow yourself to intake the energy not only of your immediate surroundings, but of the fact that the breath you share is the breath we all share. And with every breath we take, we remind ourselves of our interconnectedness to everything, to each and every one of us in this experience. So just continue breathing, continue to take in gratitude, continue to create the energy within yourself that you intend to share with the world around you as you continue to shift the paradigms. Continuing to use your breath, allow yourself to reflect on where you have been, what you have done, and who you are now. Yesterday is in the past. What we have in front of us is nothing but infinite potential. And it is our responsibility, it is our duty, it is our commitment to ourselves to be able to do something with it, to be able to know that it is as a collective that we will be able to not only strengthen ourselves as individuals, but to help strengthen the entire globe, to be able to go through the trials, the tribulations of what lies in front of us with the utmost confidence that things are unfolding as they should. Continue to connect with your breath and to continue to know that if you're listening to this now, that you are exactly where you need to be in order to get to where you are going. And everything that you need is within arm's reach. One more breath at your own pace. When you're ready, gently begin to wiggle your toes, your fingers, as you slowly begin to bring your awareness back to this room around you. All right, guys. So there you go. A little bit of a message straight from the heart there, from yours truly. So once again, guys, part of this show. The show would not exist if you were not here listening to it. And I remind you to be able to take what we are doing here on this show, to take it beyond the show, to be able to connect with those in your community, and to be able to make the difference in the lives of those around you, to be able to have that commitment to do that. So if you have not already, check out facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio, also facebook.com/ParadigmShiftCentral, and you'll find all the links that you need there. And if you want to, add me on Facebook at facebook.com/SkullBabylon. I do my best to be able to get in touch with everyone. As me doing what I do, I try to make myself very approachable. So don't feel shy if it comes to sending me a message if you have a question or you just want to say thank you. So thank you to everyone who has been a part of this show once again. Once this show is up on YouTube, continue to share to Rockmont at ParadigmShiftCentral.com/JTR. So once again, everyone, namaste, and we'll see you in the future. Peace and love.